Hello, my name is David Munis Zepernick. I am the head of business development and public affairs with the Danish-Swedish life science cluster organization Medicon Valley Alliance. Originally, I have a background in political science, but for a number of years I've been working with the Danish Ministry for Industry, Business and Financial Affairs and with the American pharmaceutical company Merck here in Europe, often referred to as Merck, Sharp and Dohme. And now, for the last 6 years, I've been working with the organization Medicon Valley Alliance as the head of business development and public affairs. So today, during my presentation, I will give you a little bit of an introduction to the Medicon Valley Life Science Cluster, the Danish-Swedish Life Science Cluster, which is the leading life science cluster of the Nordics. And then I'll give you a short introduction to my own organization, Medicon Valley Alliance, which is the life science cluster organization established in order to develop and promote this region internationally. After my presentation, I will take you on a little guided tour to the eastern part of Medicon Valley, which is the Danish part, here in Copenhagen, and we will visit COBIS, or Copenhagen Bio Science Park, as it's actually called, which is the leading science park in Denmark when it comes to life science, and also home to Bio Innovation Institute, which is the leading Danish life science incubator. Hello, my name is David Munis Zepernick. I am the head of business development and public affairs with the Danish-Swedish Life Science Cluster Medicon Valley Alliance. And let me start by saying that I'm of course flattered that you're interested in this region, and obviously I'll be happy to guide you through some of the key elements, or should we say ingredients, in this life science cluster, which is by now by far the leading life science cluster of the Nordics, and also one of the leading life science clusters of Northern Europe. What I'll be doing in this presentation is that I will guide you through a little bit of the history, so you get an idea of how this life science cluster came about. And then of course dig into some of these ingredients. I mean, you can consider actually building a life science cluster somewhat like cooking. So you need, or you should preferably have, the right ingredients, and then of course you have to know how to cook. So basically, I always start with this image. This is an image, a photo of the Øresund Bridge connecting eastern Denmark and southern Sweden. This bridge was inaugurated in year 2000, so exactly 20 years ago. And it's a crucial piece in this whole life science cluster infrastructure, because this is the piece, this bridge is what makes it possible to commute on a daily basis from southern Sweden, or from Sweden in general, to Denmark. So work in Sweden, live in Denmark, or the other way around. Before this bridge was opened, it was rather complicated to go from Sweden to Denmark. You had to go by boat, and of course it could be a challenge in the winter with bad weather, or the boat could be cancelled and so on. And because of that, there were not that many commuters, and because of that, it was difficult to actually integrate what was at that time two rather separate regions. The region Skåne in southern Sweden, and the capital region of Denmark on the Danish side. So this bridge actually made quite a difference, obviously not only for life science, but in particular for life science. This photo is actually from that very day when the Øresund Bridge was opened. What you see here on the photo are two people kissing. It's not random people, it's actually the Crown Prince of Denmark and the Crown Princess of Sweden. They are now both married, by the way, but not to each other. They are actually each other's second cousins, if I'm not mistaken. And the reason why I show you this photo is because, like so many other good things, we started with a kiss. And the whole idea, Medicon Valley, the concept of a integrated Danish-Swedish life science cluster called Medicon Valley, to some extent actually also started with this particular kiss. Although my organization, Medicon Valley Alliance, the life science cluster, which has been set up in order to stimulate collaboration and to develop and promote this life science cluster, was actually established 3 years before this in '97. The opening of the bridge was the real sort of the day, or the kind of the birth certificate, you can say, when the whole idea of an integrated region and thereby also an integrated life science cluster came about.
It all started with an idea about how to attract and develop talents in order to build a first-class binational life science cluster. A life science cluster that would attract the brightest minds and release their potential. Bright minds that would attract more talents, create business, jobs, growth, and prosperity. Welcome to Medicon Valley, one of the most attractive destinations for the brightest talents within life science. Talented academics and researchers want to live and work here, and important investors focus on us. We, Medicon Valley Alliance, are the only membership organization for the entire life science community in Medicon Valley. Medicon Valley needs you to help realize the potential of this region, to make sure that we will remain one of the strongest life science regions in the future. Medicon Valley Alliance is gardening the entire interdependent life science ecosystem in Medicon Valley. We make sure that the framework conditions are optimal. Developing the life science cluster in Medicon Valley takes a lot of commitment from public and private stakeholders. Major stakeholders will help smaller to reach higher levels of performance. Medicon Valley Alliance strengthens Medicon Valley by increasing its visibility on the global life science map. And by furthering collaboration within the region, we represent the region's triple helix and engage universities, hospitals, human life science business, regional governments, and service providers in an alliance dedicated to make the valley more attractive. The Medicon Valley Beacons aim to make the Medicon Valley a serious contender in the highly competitive global life science race. The alliance attracts a constant stream of talent and capital by showcasing the region's scientific strongholds and acting as regional landmarks on the global life science map. Medicon Valley Alliance invites you to join our mission and help us realize the full potential of Medicon Valley. Let us make Medicon Valley stronger together. Want to know more? Visit our webpage at www.mva.org.
Now I'm addressing a Chinese audience, and when I do that, and we do that quite often actually, we've had quite a few delegations from China visiting us here in Medicon Valley. I always start by pointing out that I am not trying to impress you with numbers, because I know numbers are very, very, very different when you compare Denmark, Sweden, and China. But essentially, the whole idea here is that we have built one cluster. It's a binational cluster, so 2 countries. It actually also consists of 3 regions, 3 administrative regions. The capital region of Denmark, which I mentioned just before, and then actually the Zealand region of Denmark. And these 2 regions are what you see in orange on the on my right side of the map here. And then the southernmost region of Sweden called Region Skåne. So 3 regions, and then in total around 4 million inhabitants. So these are part of the ingredients I referred to before. You might say 2 million inhabitants is not that much, and obviously if you compare it to of course China, or to some of the very big life science clusters around the world, particularly in the US, you can say of course that is not a lot. But it is. But by integrating these 2 regions, we do, however, get a somewhat more critical mass than we would otherwise have if we were looking at 2 separate regions. If, for instance, the southern region of Sweden, Region Skåne, were trying to go on their own, or if we, at the somewhat larger Danish part of the life science cluster, were trying to go about it on our own. So by integrating these two regions, which was exactly what I mentioned before, which was allowed by this Øresund Bridge, we do get somewhat more critical mass, and particularly within life science that is relevant, because before the Øresund Bridge was opened, what we had at that time was essentially two small or relatively small life science ecosystems. One life science ecosystem centered around University of Lund in southern Sweden, and AstraZeneca, Swedish company, and then on the Danish side, a, should we say, somewhat larger but still relatively small life science ecosystem centered around University of Copenhagen, centered around Technical University of Denmark, and some of the life science companies that you might be familiar with, most notably Novo Nordisk, very active within diabetes, for instance, Lundbeck, very active within CNS-related diseases, and Leo Pharma, very active within, for instance, dermatology and related diseases. So at the time, we had two separate, relatively small life science ecosystem, and the whole idea, and what our organization, Medicon Valley Alliance, is set up to do, is to literally, you can say, bridge these two regions, strengthen collaboration, define strategic strongholds. I'll get back to that. And of course also promote our region internationally as an attractive destination for life science companies, to establish a European foothold for research collaboration, and also of course an attractive destinations for talent, a place where you can actually go to if you have the right qualifications and want to pursue a career within life science. Medicon Valley Alliance, or Medicon Valley, is a relatively attractive region. Obviously, particularly if your field of interest are within some of the therapeutic areas where we have particular strongholds. Now, I mentioned diabetes before. I mentioned dermatology. I mentioned CNS-related diseases. But we are also very strong within, for instance, oncology, within infertility treatment, just to mention but a few. Obviously, a cluster of this size cannot realistically aspire to become a world-class cluster within the whole range of therapeutic areas. That will require a lot more critical mass. You can do that in Boston, for instance. You might be, to some extent, be able to do that in Oxford, Cambridge. We are a bit too small, so we have had to specialize, and that's also part of our strategy. We aspire to be and become a world-class life science cluster within some specific therapeutic areas where we have a long tradition of research excellence, where we have or are sure that we can build an industry base that is life science companies within, for instance, microbiome or infertility, areas that we believe strongly will be relevant also in the future.
We welcome you to Medicon Valley, the life science cluster of Greater Copenhagen, the location of several key companies in the life science industry. And they're here for good reasons.
My name is Dalia. I'm the Managing Director for MSD Denmark. The life science cluster of Greater Copenhagen is one of the strongest in Europe. MSD as a company needs to have presence here.
The Scandinavian way of life and ideal living conditions attract some of the best brains in the industry.
So when I first read about Greater Copenhagen, I saw that it was one of the most livable cities in the world. You can be healthy, it's green, biking is easy, the food is organic, but also the transparency and the non-hierarchy. That is the foundation of all the partnerships that are built here.
The clinical trials are easy to initiate and perform, in part due to the strong collaboration between the public healthcare system and the life science industry.
As a company, MSD is dependent on conducting clinical trials in a stable and professional environment. Public hospitals in Greater Copenhagen, they are near perfect partners providing high quality clinical trials. The next partnership helps us have a dialogue with political stakeholders on the importance of improving framework conditions for clinical trials.
The Danish Central Personal Register is a unique system where all citizens have all their personal data stored, including their complete medical record. In combination with the biobank registers in Greater Copenhagen, the data is incredibly useful for research purposes. The data here is patient-focused, and the use and handling of it is done under secured and stable terms and conditions.
The fact that the data is digital provides us with an opportunity to follow the medicines that could lead to the holy grail, which is value-based healthcare. There are many reasons to come to Greater Copenhagen. There is a strong political focus on healthcare, a flexible labor environment, abundance of talent, and openness for public and private partnership. My advice would be to come to Greater Copenhagen.
So if you look at the ingredients, and it is, I mean, if you're familiar with cooking, you know that you can have a recipe and you can have a number of ingredients. You might not have all the ingredients and you might not need all the ingredients, but what I'm going to highlight here are some of the ingredients that we have used when trying to cook a life science cluster, and some of the ingredients that we have found crucial. And first of all, as you can see here, a crucial component is a strong academic tradition. Universities and academics that are really top-notch within their area of expertise. If you want to attract research, you need to have strong universities, and also if you want to attract the best of the best from the international research communities, of course competing with life science clusters all over the world, you do need to have a strong academic basis. In our region, we have, of course, most notably the University of Copenhagen, but we do also have University of Lund in southern Sweden and Technical University of Denmark, which I mentioned just before, which generally rank quite high, specifically within life science. And when I say rank high, of course, I'm referring to some of the international ranking lists that are most commonly used. So a strong academic basis is, of course, a crucial component or an important ingredients. And if you don't have that already, I would recommend that you try to build one and really invest in attracting the right people, because if you're able to attract the right people, these people are also the people that other talented individuals, life science professors, would like to work with. So that might be a very good investment. Then in this region, we've also built and are in the process of building some research facilities of really world class. One of them is the European Spallation Source, abbreviated ESS, which will be the world's most powerful neutron source. This research facility is not for life science only. It will also assist in basic research within a broad range of R&D, including, for instance, space-related activities, material science, and so on. But it is also relevant when from a life science perspective. And one of the components that will definitely help us promote this region as an attractive destination, or a stepping stone, you can say, in and out of Northern Europe when it comes to life science. The European Spallation Source is mainly well, it's European, as you can probably see, but it's actually also a very good example of how we manage to work together here in Denmark and Sweden, because The image you can see here is the actual facility is located in the Swedish, or just outside the Swedish city of Lund, but the data management center is actually located in Copenhagen. So it's also an example of excellent collaboration. And then actually physically located just next to the European Spallation Source are the MAX 4 laboratory, which is a national Swedish laboratory providing scientists with the most brilliant X-rays for research. The European Spallation Source is still under construction. The MAX 4 laboratory was inaugurated, as you can see here, in June 2016. So I highlight these two research facilities because they are part of the unique selling points where we are out promoting this region. And of course, the reason why they work as selling point is because if you do, for a lot of research purposes, it's definitely has some added value that you have access or are conveniently located close to these two research facilities. Another key component or crucial ingredients is of course industry, life science companies. One thing is of course academic research that can be inspiring and interesting, but most often you're also interested in building an industry base and to have companies that can actually create growth, create high income jobs. And since the life science industry is normally considered to be one of the more stable, or should we say crisis-resistant industries, also from a more general perspective, business and societal perspective, a life science industry is an interesting industry to invest in. We saw it, for instance, here in the Nordics during the financial crisis, where a lot of different industries, of course, took a dip, but the life science industry was one of the few industries who actually managed to grow all the way through the financial crisis. And that is, of course, extremely relevant also in these days when we look at the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on society, business, the economy as a whole, where the life science industry stands out. I have highlighted here three of the major companies. I mentioned them earlier: Novo Nordisk, Leo Pharma, and Lundbeck. I should also perhaps mention Ferring Pharmaceuticals, very active within fertility research. And we are working continuously to strengthen the framework conditions for life science industry and to make sure that it is easy to set up a new company. And also, of course, to scale up a new company within life science, that you have access to funding. These are all elements that we, as an organization, the Medicon Valley Alliance organization, are working to strengthen or are lobbying other decision makers, for instance, national policymakers in Denmark and Sweden, regional policymakers in Denmark and Sweden, lobbying them to make sure that they are aware of the relevance and significance of the life science industry and life science in general. And also, of course, that they are particularly aware of the added value of strengthening Danish-Swedish collaboration within life science. Essentially arguing that if you strengthen Danish-Swedish relations, what you will actually be able to build, and what we have been building for the last 23 years, is actually something where the final result, the life science cluster, is greater than the sum of its part. I mean, there are some synergies, added value in working together between the two nations, Denmark and Sweden, and specifically between the regions Skåne in southern Sweden and the capital region and Zealand region of Denmark. Of course, what is also relevant and interesting when we look at the industry is, of course, that it is also not only creating growth and jobs, but also export earnings. Life science has grown substantially when you look at the portfolio. When you look at, for instance, Danish or Swedish exports, life science is a key component. Particularly the Danish export you can see that life science has been growing substantially during the last 20 years. Employment, I mentioned jobs. Jobs are absolutely crucial. High income jobs that will also create a somewhat relatively higher tax revenue is of course also interesting, not only from a business perspective but also from a more general societal perspective. And if you look, of course, also when we look at these figures here, I'm not trying to impress you with numbers, but what you should look at is of course the trajectory, and you can see that this graph, if you look at the blue line, which is Denmark, the red line is Sweden, you can see particularly for Denmark, the life science employment has grown substantially from 2008 and until now. Currently, there are about 44,000 life science employees, that is in privately owned companies in Medicon Valley, and that has been growing all through the years. In Sweden, they had a bit of a setback, but that has changed, and for the last 5 years, they have been on a growth trajectory as well. Another key component when building a life science cluster like Medicon Valley is, of course, to make sure that you have framework conditions that stimulate innovation generally. So innovation policy is also extremely relevant, and if you look at this European Innovation Scoreboard, you can see that Medicon Valley is actually ranked among the most innovative regions in the European Union. And if you look at the top 3, you can see Sweden is actually number 1, Finland, which is also a Nordic country, is number 2, and then you have Denmark as number 3. You can find other rankings that are a little bit different, but the conclusion is the same. Denmark and Sweden and the Nordics in general actually rank quite high when it comes to innovation. So if you're a company from outside Europe, for instance, or at least from outside the Nordics, looking for a good place, looking for a stepping stone into the European Union, for instance, the Nordics is a pretty good place to look, because obviously you will look for framework conditions that will help you innovate your own company and at the same time give you access to European markets. Another thing that is of course closely related to innovation is the number of patents issued. And as you can see here, the number of Danish patent applications in the life sciences to the European Patent Office rose 10% last year. It's just an indicator that you're doing something right. It is of course also something that points to the future, because patents is also a very strong indicator to how will the future look like when it comes to life science in your particular region or in your particular country. So it is kind of looking into the future. Obviously, patents does not equal future revenue. So when you look into the crystal ball, look into the future, it is a bit blurred. But all other things equal, the more relevant patents you have, patent applications, the better. I mentioned the export figures just before. Here are some actual figures, and as you can see, particularly Danish life science export has grown dramatically. That is the red line here. The Swedish growth has been more modest, but still it is growth. Now these figures, I'm not going to detail with the figures, because first of all they are in Danish kroner, and secondly it might be difficult to translate these actual figures to the Chinese situation. But of course, what you can see is how it has developed here. This figure is goes from 2008 to 2018, and we will actually in a report called State of the Medicon Valley Analysis that will be published next week. We will actually publish some updated figures on this as well. And again, and this is of particular relevance for China and of course Denmark. What we can see here is that something that which everyone knows, which is that the largest export market for pharmaceuticals is the US, and that goes for Denmark as well. But what you can also see is that if you for Swedish exports, China has actually become the largest export market, and Swedish life science export to China increased in 2018 with 21%, and also the somewhat larger Danish export to China has grown substantially, and China is now also in the top 3 when looking at the life science exports in Denmark and in Sweden. And last but not least, here talking about the ingredients needed in order to cook or prepare a life science cluster. I would just like to highlight that if you look at life science exports in relation to the total population size, you can see that, as it states up there, Denmark is the fourth largest exporter of life science products, and Sweden is the 10th largest. So although we are both relatively small countries, particularly of course compared to China, life science is a very, very substantial and strategic industry in both countries, as illustrated by the export figures. That was sort of the part of my presentation addressing the life science cluster, Medicon Valley, as such. And now I plan to introduce you to my organization, the Medicon Valley Alliance, which is a non-profit, member-based organization, established, as mentioned earlier, back in 97 by University of Copenhagen and Lund University. These 2 universities were actually they are our founding fathers. And established in order to realize the full potential of this life science cluster, making sure that we get the best out of it when we combine our resources, when we work together, when we create more critical mass, make ourselves more attractive as a gateway to life science in Europe than we would have been if we had not worked together, Denmark and Sweden. So that's the whole idea. The reason why our organization, Medicon Valley Alliance, was established was to optimize the likelihood of success, to develop, build, and promote this region as an attractive destination for life science in general. It's all about working together. It's based on a triple helix model, and basically it's about bringing the stakeholders together, industry, that is private companies, academia, which is of course universities, and then last but not least the public sector, mainly the healthcare, public healthcare, which is essentially the hospitals, making sure that these 3 components are integrated, that they work together, and that they help each other out, and that is, I guess, essentially what a life science cluster is all about. It is about connecting the dots and making sure that when you create this dynamic environment where it's easy to set up a life science startup, where you know who to go to, where you can collaborate between private researchers or researchers funded by private companies, can easily collaborate with public sector researchers, and this is what is of course unique about our region, is that you can do that not only within your own country, in Denmark and Sweden respectively, but you can also do it across the Danish-Swedish border between the regions, the southernmost region of Sweden, region Skåne, and for instance the capital region of Denmark. So Medicon Valley Alliance, this is a photo from our annual meeting, the Medicon Valley Alliance annual meeting. This year it takes place on the 2nd of November. And as you can see, what we do is that we gather quite a lot of people, normally here around 300 individuals representing a broad variety of Medicon Valley Alliance member companies, universities, biotech, medtech, pharmaceutical companies, CROs, CMOs, recruitment agencies, basically everyone interested in life science in this region, either interested from an R&D perspective or interested from a purely business perspective, or of course a combination of both. We bring them, we invite them, we gather them around a series of selected topics. For this particular meeting, it's like a half-day event where we defined and discuss issues of relevance, for instance, how to improve the framework conditions for life science innovation, growth, export, recruitment in this Danish-Swedish region. What you see here is my CEO, Peter Hartmann, presenting, and further left you can see a slightly younger version of me as well. So what do we do in the Medicon Valley Alliance organization? We are about 10-12 people. What we do, one of the things that we do is that we analyze and present the facts to key opinion leaders in the region, analyze our ranking, our standing, what are we good at, where's room for improvement if we want to realize the full potential of this region. And some of these facts and figures resulting from this analysis, which is also, by the way, presented at the annual meeting, 2nd of November, are the very same fact and figures that the regional investment agencies and the National Invest in Denmark, for instance, that they use when they are out traveling the world and promoting this region as an attractive destination for life science. So some of their promoting material is actually based on the analysis work that we do in Medicon Valley Alliance. So we're also essentially an event and network organization. Of course, this year has been quite a challenge because we have not been able to bring people together the way we planned. We have not been able to host and organize all the meetings, face-to-face meetings that we had originally planned. A lot of it has been converted to a digital format. That is to some extent also why I'm presenting to you here in this way. But essentially, what we do is that we organize, say, plus 30 events each year, different types of events, of course, all related to life science in one way or another. All events where the agenda, of course, addresses some relevant issues within life science research. It can be very specific issues within a specific therapeutic areas, but it can also be more general things like issues relating to patent or patent applications, do's and don'ts, a broad variety of topics that are relevant to our members. And essentially, if you take all of the events that we do, they are, of course, very different when you look at the specific topics. But what they have in common is that they serve as meeting and marketplaces for life science stakeholders in this region. So it's a place you can go to get inspired, to network, to meet potential new business partners, to meet potential new research partners. And of course, all our events are in English, partly as to avoid to have to choose between Danish and Swedish, although Danish and Swedish are quite similar languages and we do understand each other to some extent. but obviously also because life science is a very global industry, and if we were to do our events in Danish or Swedish, we would exclude all the non-Danish or non-Swedish speakers in this region, which would of course be a silly thing to do. So consequently, all our events are in English. And the very simple concept is, and the business model, I mean, we are a non-profit organization, but the business model, because there is a business model, is actually very simple. If your company or your organization, your university, is a member of Medicon Valley Alliance, you as an individual employee have full and unlimited access to attend all the events that MVA hosts and organizes. So, of course, part of my job is also to make sure that these events are attractive events with relevant agendas, and where that events that attract the right people that other people want to hang out with and reach out to. And I very much like the idea of the marketplace, because essentially that is what our events are. And if you take a marketplace, any place, could be here in Denmark, could be in Sweden, could be in China, and if you ask yourself the question, why do I want to go to a marketplace? Often you would come up with a combination of 5 reasons. Firstly, of course, you go to a marketplace to sell, or you go there to buy. This is of course pretty much what defines a marketplace. But you also go to a marketplace to see who else is there, because you're curious. And you go to a marketplace also because you want to be seen by the others. You want them to see you. And then the 5th reason to go to a marketplace is because at a marketplace there are often some sort of interesting entertainment going on. Could be a theater play or whatever. Of course, at Medicon Valley Alliance organized events, this element, the entertainment element, is mainly presentations, discussions that are relevant to your business in one way or another. And of course, for your particular business, within your particular therapeutic field, of course, there might be a lot of events that are not particularly relevant, so you tend to pick and choose those MVA events that are relevant to your business or your research. So there are not a lot of MVA members who attend all the events that we do, but most members attend some of the events that we do. Then, and this is also part of the reason why I accepted the invitation here to promote and give you a little bit information about Medicon Valley. We also promote the region globally. I don't personally travel all that much, although I would very much like to go to China, because we have a division of labor where the regional investment agencies in Denmark, that is Copenhagen Capacity, in southern Sweden, that is Invest in Skåne, they do a lot of the international outreach, as mentioned earlier, based on some of the facts and figures that we provide. But I do quite a bit of travel and attend conferences predominantly in Northern Europe, where we are able to pitch the whole idea of Medicon Valley and the unique selling points that we have to an audience of life science companies and researchers. Also, in order to make them aware that they can become a member and use that membership to tap into the life science ecosystem, the combined life science ecosystems of southern Sweden and eastern Denmark. And last but not least, we also bring our members together around strategic projects that we believe, and I think I mentioned that earlier, strategic projects that we think will help to strengthen Medicon Valley in the future. So we have, for instance, defined the area microbiome related research and fertility treatment as areas where we have a strong tradition already. That is within fertility, or some unique features and a unique combination of companies and public sector researchers within microbiome, for instance, that makes these two fields very likely to be future strongholds for the Medicon Valley region. So we are bringing stakeholders together, helping them to apply for additional funding. In this case, funding from regional funding from the European Union. And to help establish strong research communities and attract companies within microbiome and fertility specifically. We have, for instance, a project within fertility called the ReproUnion project. You can find it at www.reprounion.eu, where you can see how we work strategically with infertility and bring public and private stakeholders together in order to make sure that our region will be in the lead when it comes to fertility treatment in the future. One of the specific ways we organize the events that we do are our Medicon Valley Alliance networks, and also based on input from our members, we have so far established 4 networks around different topics that we know our members are interested in, and where they would like to go to MBA events for inspiration and business opportunities and so on. And as you can see here, we have an oncology network, we have a medtech network, we have what we call the R&D network, working with R&D more across the range of different therapeutic areas. And then we have the relatively newly established microbiome network, where, as mentioned before, we bring relevant stakeholders together and discuss how we can work together and what we need to do and what we need to do together in order to make sure that in the future Medicon Valley will be a world-class life science cluster within microbiome research. And like I explained before, all members or employees employed by companies who've decided to be a member of Medicon Valley Alliance can attend network meetings free of charge. For each of these networks, there are 2 annual meetings. We actually have a 4th network, which is kind of our VIP network called the Medicon Valley Alliance Executive Club, where we bring together twice a year C-level professionals from our member companies for a dinner meeting and presentation and discussion of sort of more overall or more general framework conditions relating to Danish and Swedish life science. We have identified 4 future focus areas. And if you look at my slide here, you can see what we're talking about is, of course, cross-border research to make sure that we stimulate that, especially when it comes to clinical trials. I mean, we think that if Denmark and Sweden work together, we will be an even more attractive destination for conducting clinical trials. Also, as I mentioned, it's one of the key ingredients. You have to have access to funding and capital. We should also have a more coordinated effort in order to make sure that we can attract venture capital and investments to our region. Obviously realizing that we are competing with a lot of other life science clusters who are trying to do exactly the same thing. What we also have identified as a focus area is to have a well-integrated labor market in the Medicon Valley, to make sure that there are no obstacles for commuting from Denmark to Sweden or from Sweden to Denmark. That is, of course, crucial if you want to integrate a region. It won't work if it's difficult for administrative reasons or practical reasons to live in one country and work in another country. And then once again, we are working strategically to build support for the microbiome as a future stronghold. I did mention a little bit about the membership and how you can actually become a member just by applying from our webpage, www.mva.org. If you look at the membership section of our webpage, we have currently a little more than 300 members, ranging from big companies such as biotech companies such as Genmark, Novo Nordisk, a lot of the international subsidiaries located here in the region. For instance, the local subsidiary of Roche, Pfizer, Amgen, Merck, MSD, and the list goes on. And then of course a lot of very small medium-sized life science companies, biotech companies in this region. You will, as a member, be able to tap into an English-speaking bilateral life science ecosystem. You will, as mentioned earlier, be able to reach out to potential R&D and or business partners. You can, if you attend our meetings and events frequently, get updated on current trends within a number of different therapeutic areas, a number of different topics, of course all life science related. That is the entertainment element of the marketplace I mentioned just before. And then you can actually also use Medicon Valley Alliance and the membership of Medicon Valley Alliance to get your message across, because what we also do as a part of the, to some extent as a part of the free member service, is that we help our members get their message out. If you are organizing, could be like a webinar, there's a lot of those these days, and you want to make sure that people in our region are aware of this webinar, this opportunity, you can reach out to Medicon Valley Alliance, and we will make sure that your webinar is posted in our event calendar, that it gets published in our bi-weekly newsletter, so that people in our region are aware of what you're doing. We also have a specific kind of events where we actually offer members, also non-members, but we have a differentiated price structure. We offer our members to co-host meetings where they are able to demonstrate their expertise and give the interested, potentially interested participants in this region an opportunity to learn more about the individual company and what their expertise is and how they can be of assistance. And these are often more kind of educational setups. We call them good morning meetings, and especially for companies without boots on the ground in this region already, this is a rather convenient and low-cost way to tap into the Medicon Valley life science ecosystem and actually figure out whether there's a genuine demand for whatever particular service or product you have to offer. So that is also something that we provide, and we provide it with a favorable rate for MVA members. And just to mention, now that I'm addressing an international audience, we also have embassy members of Medicon Valley Alliance, and that is essentially embassies in Copenhagen that have decided to work strategically with life science, and as such has chosen to become a member of our organization, and thereby also having access to all MBA events. And you can see the UK, they are a member, Canada, Portugal, Ireland. We are also working relatively closely with the US Embassy, and we are talking with the Israeli Embassy, but membership of Medicon Valley Alliance is open to everyone. So we would of course also very much like to work more and more strategically and more systematically with Chinese companies and representatives from China. This is just one of my final slides. You can call it the bragging slide. Just an example of some of the logos from some of our member companies. They cannot all be there, as mentioned. We have more than 300 member companies and organizations. But you will see here, for instance, the logo of Pfizer, Ferring, Novo Nordisk, MSD, Amgen, and so on and so forth.
All over the world, people are waiting for innovative medicines for the treatment of diseases with unmet medical needs. At Astellas, we are united in a common purpose. we will continue to provide innovative pharmaceutical products that address unmet medical needs in order to deliver a better tomorrow for patients.
To contribute toward improving the health of people around the world through the provision of innovative and reliable pharmaceutical products. This is our raison d'être. This is why we exist. To continuously contribute to the needs of society, we must look 10 or more than 20 years in the future and never stop pursuing innovation in everything we do. We'll generate innovation by treating external environmental changes as opportunities to bring value to patients around the world. Our vision is clear. Astellas stands on the forefront of healthcare change, turning innovative science into value for patients. We are changing tomorrow.
It's a long and complex journey to generate the innovation that may lead to a new medicine. Across Astellas worldwide, teams of experts from research, development, pharmaceutical technology, sales representatives, and medical affairs are working together to achieve our goal of changing tomorrow for patients. Drug discovery research is the starting point of creating a potential new medicine. Drug discovery research begins with understanding how the body functions and the mechanisms of disease. We can then target ways to treat or prevent worsening of symptoms. Our scientists then identify the most effective treatment methods and narrow down the drug candidates. The drug candidates are evaluated through preclinical research adhering to strict pharmaceutical standards to optimize programs for clinical trials. We promote open innovation by building a global network research system, which enables us to undertake dynamic research activities in the best possible environment, based on the world's cutting-edge science through alliance opportunities with external partners. Under this system, we are aiming to combine proprietary technology to identify targets for new medicines with acquired novel technology platforms and new treatment methods such as gene therapy, cell therapy, and next-generation vaccines, in addition to small molecular compounds and antibodies to drive innovation. We are advancing various initiatives to deliver innovative medicines to patients as early as possible.
「革新的な医薬品を待ち望む患者さんの期待に応えるために、前例にとらわれることなく、あらゆる可能性を追求し続けます。
私たちは病気やその治療方法に対する理解をより深めることで、これまでにない治療薬の創出を目指します。
In development stage, the drug candidates generated through drug discovery research are tested by rigorous clinical trials to evaluate the appropriate dosage, efficacy, and safety in human use. Turning innovative science into value for patients, we approach the process scientifically to ensure that we properly test if a potential medicine is effective and safe in patients. Astellas has established a global development organization that is very well integrated, which allows teams to work collaboratively to conduct clinical trials that meet compliance regulations in each country, as well as the needs of different patient populations. We share clinical trial data collected in each region across teams, allowing us to proceed with the new drug applications efficiently. A new drug application to obtain marketing approval is submitted for review by regulatory agencies in each country.
Well, to achieve our goals, translating innovative science into innovative medicine, it's vital that all of our development team members combine skills and efforts and share our common aspiration towards the same goal of improving health of people around the world.
We are able to develop innovative medicines that have the potential to address unmet medical needs for patients by combining our diverse experience, knowledge, and approach.
必要とされる新薬を一日でも早く患者さんのもとに届けられるよう、これからも建設的な議論と日々の進歩を積み重ね、科学を追求していきます。
So we harness our extensive project management skills to advance novel drug programs. At the Astellas Institute for Regenerative Medicine, we are investigating new treatment approaches and cell therapies, modalities that have the potential to fundamentally change the way we think about managing diseases in areas where there are limited treatment options.
Consistently delivering high-quality and reliable medicines to patients is, as well as enhancing the value of drug candidates through our advanced manufacturing and technology know-how, the key role of pharmaceutical technology. Pharmaceutical technology conducts industrial research to explore the most innovative production methods and analysis methods to enable commercial production while maintaining product effectiveness and quality. In addition, we conduct patient-focused formulation research to explore the most relevant way to deliver the medicine to the affected area of the patient. Pharmaceutical technology also has established a global supply chain infrastructure to deliver our products where and when they are needed. We manage as a team the entire process, from sourcing the raw materials to manufacturing products and managing the logistics of delivering final products, to ensure the quality of our medicines meets global standards.
さまざまな科学的手法で高い品質を保証し、安心して使用できる医薬品を世界中の医療現場にお届けすることを可能にしています。
We always keep our patients at the forefront of everything we do as we produce therapies for people in need.
強固なサプライチェーンのもと、原材料の調達から製造、出庫、物流まで全てのプロセスを主体的に管理し、効果的かつ効率的に製品供給していきます。
Astellas has its own sales network in place across the world, covering more than 50 countries where we deliver our products. Sales representatives contribute to the treatment of patients by promoting appropriate use of medicines to help healthcare providers deliver optimal care. Using our wide range of expert knowledge on Astellas products, sales representatives play a key role in delivering approved information and also receiving feedback about the efficacy and safety of medicines to help healthcare professionals make appropriate prescribing decisions.
We build sustainable long-term partnerships with healthcare professionals, incorporating the clinical challenges they face with patient insight to deliver medicines to improve the lives of patients.
私たちは医療環境の急速な変化を捉え、患者さんの流れやニーズを把握した上で迅速かつ的確な情報提供をしていきます。
I can to support the information and needs of healthcare professionals so that they can best meet the needs of their patients.
Medical affairs plays a critical role in enhancing the medical and scientific value of the products developed and delivered by Astellas. At Astellas, medical affairs teams consist of specialists around the world who have extensive medical and pharmaceutical knowledge. We work to understand how the external environment views the value of Astellas' medicines and translates those insights into strategies and activities that fulfill our stakeholders' current and future information needs to ensure a safe and appropriate use of our therapies. To meet further unmet medical needs, research studies or clinical trials on Astellas products can be planned and conducted. Then we seek to publish the results, thereby sharing this scientific information with healthcare professionals. We also address inquiries about Astellas products from healthcare professionals. In addition, we have the ability to conduct post-marketing studies at the medical sites to ensure the efficacy and safety of Astellas products and contribute to the appropriate use of the products. Medical affairs creates scientifically supported valuable data for Astellas products through research studies or clinical trials.
We work to identify unmet medical needs through listening to and understanding the needs of healthcare professionals and other key stakeholders, and understanding the factors that impact treatment decisions.
By collaborating globally, we are committed to maximizing the medical value of our products while also establishing a relationship of trust with our stakeholders that is based on the exchange of scientific information about our products that is truthful, accurate, balanced, not misleading, and based on substantial scientific evidence.
患者さんの明るい未来のために先進の科学を取り入れた確かな情報を提供することで、医療関係者がより良い治療を選択できるよう活動していきます。
Astellas aspires to be a company that is trustworthy and contributing to the sustainable growth of society through the incorporation of social responsibility into its business activities. We take a CSR-based management approach in our daily activities, focusing on 5 core fields: business activities, employees, society, environment, and ethics and compliance. Astellas also continually contributes to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals adopted by all member states of the United Nations, the common global goals for sustainable growth, with a particular focus on Goal 3, good health and well-being. There are many people who have difficulty accessing the health care they need. Astellas recognizes this problem as an access to health issue and is striving to improve the situation with many different approaches. As a company, Astellas supports Changing Tomorrow Day. Astellas employees all over the world get the opportunity to contribute to their local communities by participating in various volunteer activities. In addition, our employees participate in overseas volunteer programs by partnering with social enterprises and non-governmental organizations in emerging countries with a goal to solve local social issues. We are every day contributing to the health of people around the world. To do so, we continue our journey on the forefront of healthcare change to turn innovative science into value for patients.
We stand on the forefront of healthcare change
and turn innovative science
into value for patients.
We stand on the forefront of healthcare change and turn innovative science into value for patients.
Astellas, changing tomorrow.
Making life better. This is what Bayer is all about. We are addressing some of the most urgent global challenges by constantly developing new solutions. Working with farmers and partners around the world, we commit to never stop searching for smarter ways to grow food, safer ways to protect it, and new ways to make it more nourishing, all while putting less stress on natural resources.
Hola.
Hello, I'm Tonino Gazzarini. I'm a farmer and very passionate with what I do. Today, here, we are in Jataí, Goiás State, Brazil. Here in Goiás State, we farm on 4,000 hectares. In these 4,000 hectares, several crops are distributed during the year, and the drone came to help us to monitor not only the crops, but also the status of each of the properties. Today's machines are equipped with high tech so that we can do a much better job at fertilization, sowing, and harvest control. So to me, digital farming is it. There's no going back. I'm proud to be a farmer. I believe in agriculture, and I'm sure that the innovations that Bayer is bringing will help us a lot in our decision making.
Hi, I'm Diana Gitonga. Welcome to Geberesia. This is a place of potato. Today the weather is really nice. The sun is up here in the sky and the mountain is very clear. Look at Mount Kenya. It's over there.
My name is Jackson Marango Correa, and I am 63 years old. I live in Kibirichi location, Buri district. Luckily, we met Bayer with their smallholder potato farming initiative, and then I joined. I saw that the initiative will be of help to me and uplift me from where I was so that I can adopt better farming practices and agribusiness. Things have only looked up since we began working together with Bayer. We don't need to look for anything. We have it all here. We offer solutions to address the increasing challenges posed by an aging population and the demand for innovative medicines. We research, develop, and market innovative medicines that improve the lives of people. My name is Erwin Rettenbacher. I'm 68 years old and suffering from wet age-related macular degeneration. And these are my grandchildren. My story began 2 years ago when fluid underneath my retina went along with a destruction of the photoreceptors. I was afraid of completely losing my eyesight, of going blind. However, injections in my eyes really helped. Since then, the disease hasn't progressed any further. The function of my retina has recovered and my eyesight has improved. It is my biggest wish to see my grandchildren grow up and be with them for many more years. We provide consumers with the tools, knowledge, and resources to help them effectively practice self-care through the use of over-the-counter medicines, nutritional supplements, and other self-care solutions.
Hi, I'm Quinn Silva, and I'm a third-generation almond farmer. Before, it was not possible for me to be standing in the center of all these blossoming almond trees. I had complaints for years. I was constantly sneezing, my nose was running, my eyes were very itchy, watering, and I was edgy all the time. When I started suffering from asthma attacks, the doctors diagnosed me with a pollen allergy. Today I'm taking Claritin, and my quality of life has greatly improved. Finally, I'm able to do my job without any restrictions and experience our orchards firsthand with all of my senses.
The city as a living space is booming. More and more people treat their pets as part of the family. Our products contribute to the health and well-being of all these animals, protecting them from diseases and treating them if they become ill.
My name is Evelyn Tan, and this is my dog Dodo. Before Dodo came to me, I sometimes felt a bit lonely in this big city. With Dodo, my life has become so much more beautiful. Cleanliness and coat care are two important topics because they are the essential basis for protection from parasites. Also, Dodo is vaccinated, and I take him for medical checkups regularly. Dodo and I are like best friends. He cheers me up if I'm sad. I know that he needs me, and I need him too.
Every day we put our knowledge and skills to work on behalf of humankind, inventing and delivering high-quality products that help make life just a little better. That's essentially what we are all about. We call it science for a better life.
More than 100 years ago in Switzerland, our company's founder, Fritz Hoffmann, turned a pioneering idea into reality.
That a partnership between business and science can improve people's lives.
Expanding globally, colleagues tackled obstacles and worked across disciplines and cultures. They embraced risks.
This is still how we transform lives, provide cures, comfort, and hope today. This is what it takes to make a difference in the health of millions.
We continue to learn along the way. We explore ideas, face setbacks, and relentlessly pursue new approaches to make true advances against disease.
And our people remain dedicated to transforming science into breakthrough medicines and diagnostics. The quest goes on to improve the life of each patient in the best way possible. In partnership with others, together we spark meaningful change for the future of human health.
Because a great idea is a great idea no matter where it comes from.
So our journey continues. The world needs better ways to prevent, diagnose, and treat disease.
We're committed to bringing these advances to everyone who needs them, no matter where they live. And this is our promise, to care about this generation and the ones to come for the next 100 years and beyond.
We are a global healthcare pioneer advancing science for humanity. This is who we are. This is Roche.
In the era of rising safety standards and growing emphasis on stringent quality, Eurofins has emerged as the trusted partner, providing testing and support services to the food, biopharma, clinical diagnostics, environment, agroscience, genomics, forensics, and consumer product industries worldwide. It all began with one small laboratory in Nantes in 1987. Eurofins was formed to market the SNF NMR technology, a patented analytical method to detect sophisticated adulteration of wines and fruit juices that traditional testing methods could not find. These 30 years have seen Eurofins grow exponentially to a team of more than 30,000 employees, operating over 400 state-of-the-art laboratories across 6 continents and generating over €3 billion in revenue. This growth has been possible through selecting and joining forces with world-class laboratories who were leaders in their respective fields of activity. Through their local Eurofins laboratory, our customers can access the resources of the global network of competence centres while benefiting from regional insights and local personalised support. Any Eurofins laboratory is effectively a one-stop shop led by a fully empowered entrepreneur. With ready access to cutting-edge technology and know-how, Eurofin's network of laboratories brings together the best of both worlds.
Eurofins is organized decentrally with empowered local leaders. This motivates me as a local managing director to build long-lasting relationships with my customers. I have a maximum focus on my customers and their needs.
With this, our customers sitting anywhere in the globe can harness the benefits of these state-of-the-art labs.
This offers natural collaborations for our laboratory and extends our capabilities, while at the same time offering clients the efficiency of scale that we couldn't achieve on our own.
Our tremendous growth over the last 30 years allowed Eurofins to invest into the most modern equipment, state-of-the-art laboratory buildings, bespoke IT solutions and training, so that the company can offer consistently high-quality standards throughout the group. Eurofin scientists are highly qualified and serve on hundreds of government and industry associations, standardization and technical committees. But there is more than professional pride.
Our doctors take care of very sick patients, and there is simply no greater responsibility, and I think Eurofins recognizes that and appreciates that as much as we do here at Biorecord.
We not only are having a positive impact on patient lives, we're also having a positive impact on the world around us.
I like that everything we do has a positive impact on life, health and the environment.
The group is determined to remain at the forefront of technology, to expand its analytical portfolio, to continually set new standards in testing, and to serve more customers and communities around the world, while contributing to the safety of life, health, and environment. Eurofins, testing for life.
大家好，我是新德科的胡胜利。新德科就是原博士包装技术。在过去20年，中国的制药行业和食品工业取得了长足的发展。在此，我们首先也非常感谢我们的业务伙伴和客户给我们的信任和支持。
Hello, I'm Stefan Ehlert, the Commercial Director of Syntegron China since the end of 2019. Regarding our business situation, Syntegron generated a global turnover of more than 1.3 billion euros in 2019, which was slightly above the previous year. Our two business units, food and pharma, contributed roughly equally to this success.
Hi, my name is Henry Behlen. I'm the Sales Director for Food in China for Syntegron. Yes, sustainability is one of our main themes. The company is unveiling its new TPU form, fill and seal for fiber-based packaging. For example, manufacturers of food, hygiene products and cosmetics can use it to produce a mainly fiber-based packaging solution for their disposable and single-serving packs to replace the plastic packaging materials. We do this together with another company. They make the fiber form paper, which creates a very stable shell, which we then show in the shelves from the supermarket. The material is fully recyclable together with paper. Syntegron also supplies retrofit kits for existing systems. A nice example is the paper-on foam. It's for horizontal machines. Replace the plastic film with a paper film, and it's suitable for hot seal and cold seal applications.
大家可以看到，我们除了一些单独的一些工艺设备，我们几乎囊括了所有的无菌灌装的主要的关键设备，其中包括各种灌装生产线吸淋瓶、安珀瓶、注射器，直至最终的2道包装，包括灯检设备以及最前沿的隔离器技术。在固体制药领域，我们除了提供相关的工艺设备之外，我们也有自己本地的实验室，尽量的给我们本地的客户提供工艺的支持和优化。智能化是未来的一个趋势。凭借着多年的软件开发和集成方面的经验，我们最近推出了制药工业4.0的组合产品。我们最近马上要推出的 Smaller Batch 系列，一定能给我们的生物制药助力。 我们的产品覆盖可以从每小时几十支的灌装，到每小时几千支的灌装。这种设计更加符合制药行业的发展，尤其是生物领域。固体制剂的联系化生产也是未来的方向之一。最近我们推出了以 SK 单元为基础的联系化生产解决方案，可以覆盖从实验室规模以及到大生产规模。我相信我们联系化生产的解决方案应该很快能够来到中国，帮助我们的客户提高它的生产效率，增加竞争力。在中国，即便是针对新德科的进口设备，得益于中国强有力的本地化团队，也能及时为中国客户提供工程技术支持、项目管理、验证服务以及现场服务等。
In 1921, Canadian scientists Frederick Banting and Charles Best discovered insulin and began using it to treat patients with diabetes. In 1922, Danish scientists August and Marie Croix journeyed to North America, where Marie, herself a diabetic, heard about the discovery in Canada. The Crows traveled to the University of Toronto and met Banting and Best. They sought and received permission to produce insulin themselves back in Denmark. By 1923, the company they founded, known today as Novo Nordisk, became the first company in Europe to produce and sell insulin as a treatment for diabetes. Today, after more than 90 years focused on diabetes care, we are thousands of employees across the world with the passion, the skill, and the commitment to continue this journey to prevent, treat, and ultimately cure diabetes. At the same time, we aspire to change possibilities in hemophilia and other serious chronic conditions where we can make a difference. At Novo Nordisk, our guiding principles, what we call the Novo Nordisk Way, are the foundation of our business. The Novo Nordisk Way articulates our commitment to improvement, from bringing innovation to patients and stakeholders, to protecting the planet, or to providing life-changing careers for employees. We aim to make things better wherever we go, whatever we do. We are passionate about ensuring that all our actions are economically viable, socially responsible, and environmentally sound. We call this the triple bottom line. By putting patients at the center of everything we do, while being economically responsible, we guarantee long-term stability and ensure that the people who rely on us will be supported for the long run. By taking early steps towards reducing our energy footprint now, we reduce our impact on the climate and prepare ourselves for an energy-constrained future, meaning we can continue to innovate and save lives in a changing world. Finally, we have committed ourselves to increasing awareness and education on diabetes, hemophilia, and women's health. Through supporting advocacy groups, activism, and community events, we aim to empower patients and improve access to care across the globe. At Novo Nordisk, we know that further research and innovation is the key to continuing to improve the lives of patients. In 2013, Novo Nordisk invested 14% of every dollar earned back into research and development. While more than 23,000 people took part in Novo Nordisk-sponsored clinical trials underway around the world. We know the future will hold more advancement, and we are committed to being at the forefront of that research. We work with researchers all over the world to discover innovative therapies that have the potential to improve the lives of patients. Today, 382 million people have diabetes. That's 1 in 12 adults. Only half the people with diabetes know they have it, putting them at risk of irreversible damage to their nerves, kidneys, eyes, and heart. As the world's leading healthcare company specializing in diabetes, Novo Nordisk has a responsibility to fight the diabetes pandemic. With a broad portfolio of treatments, a strong pipeline, and a determination to go beyond medicine and advocate for better diabetes prevention and care, we and our partners from patient organizations to policymakers strive to improve the lives of people affected by diabetes all over the world.
When you're inspired by a great purpose,
an extraordinary project. You see possibilities rather than barriers. You go beyond your expertise and skills to meet unmet needs. Millions rely on us. So at Novo Nordisk Research and Development, we work to deliver cutting-edge treatments to change the lives of patients. And to change the boundaries for our therapy areas, we invite the brightest talent to join us. Our success is built on 90 years of innovation and commitment to patients. 90 years of research into mimicking the processes of Mother Nature. 90 years of continuously making every generation of drugs better. And in everything we do, in all that we think, make, tweak, see, plan, try, test, learn, and change, the patient is at the heart. We believe that patients should have the opportunity to control their lives, to forget they are patients. And to reach this ambition, we strive to give every single employee the flexibility to pursue his or her passion. And we trust each individual's sense of responsibility and commitment. So what happens when you bring personal ambition and passion to every project? When you help and inspire each other towards a common goal? We change the lives of patients. We take tomorrow's research to the next level. We bring better treatments to market. We make research and development count. That is what we do at Novo Nordisk Research and Development. And you can too.
Yes, that was about all I brought with me today. I hope I was able to give you at least some sort of idea about the Medicon Valley Life Science Cluster, the Medicon Valley region, and then on top of that, the Medicon Valley Alliance organization, where I am employed as Head of Business Development and Public Affairs. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I look forward to work with you in the future. Thank you. So now we are here at the COBIS Life Science Park here in Copenhagen, which is one of the leading science parks of the Medicon Valley Life Science Cluster. It is the leading science park for life science in Denmark. In Sweden, in southern Sweden, you will also find science parks such as Medicon Village and Ideon and Medeon. But here on the Danish side, COBIS is number one. So basically, Medicon Valley is the entire region consisting of southern Sweden and eastern Denmark. And within that region, then there is a number of science parks, at least 3 relevant life science parks in Sweden, Ideon, Medicon Village and Medeon, and now here in Copenhagen, in the Danish part of the Medicon Valley region, the number one science park is COBIS, where we are today, Copenhagen Bio Science Park. Then we'll have to check. Ready. That's very nice. Well, that's As you can see here, we have a little cartoon here with the life cycle of COBIS from the very early beginning, 11 years ago, with one startup company in this science park. And then you can see how it has developed. In 2010, we had the first foreign startup establishing an office here at COBIS. And quite soon after that, we simply had to enlarge COBIS because the demand was so great. So in 2014, COBIS was substantially enlarged with additional 4,000 square meters. And well, today we are actually planning to enlarge even further. And COBIS has been awarded the prize Northern Europe's best place to start a bioscience business, which is of course something that COBIS and all of the Medicon Valley Life Science Cluster is extremely proud of. Give it a try. Yes, so here we are on the third floor of COBIS, where the Bioinnovation Institute is located. And as you can see here, bringing ideas to life and research to market, which is essentially what COBIS and the Bioinnovation Institute is all about. So here we are at what we refer to as the square, which is essentially where everybody meet. All the companies located here at COBIS, particularly here on the third floor where the Bioinnovation Institute is located, use this square for events, networking events, seminars, presentations, pitches, and so on. And also use that as an opportunity to get to know each other even better. Well, traditionally, Medicon Valley Alliance host and organize around 30 to 35 face-to-face events, seminars, networking meetings every year. Obviously, that has changed with the pandemic, COVID-19. So we've had to convert quite a few of our meetings and events to a digital format, and if you look at our YouTube channel, you can see, for instance, our annual meeting, which was converted to digital here early November. We recently hosted a health tech event as well, which is also accessible on the MBA YouTube channel. So hope you enjoy it.
Thank you very much. And I'll try and share my screen again.
Yes, there we go. Welcome.
And here we go.
And
that sounds good. Thank you very much.
Smart drug delivery can be used in different ways. Drug delivery solutions.
15 or 16 other companies are engaged in Sweet Deliver. As to say, instance.
I think it's good that you have that dialogue.
Thank you so much. Maybe we should start, and I would also like to thanks a lot for all of you.
My name is Morten Mølgaard Jensen. I am the Chief Operating Officer at Copenhagen Bio Science Park, or COBIS as it's known in short. It's a biotechnological science park located in Copenhagen, Denmark, with approximately 125 life science and health tech startups. We are part of a larger group called Zepernick, housing all in all about 650 startup companies throughout 7 different locations in Copenhagen.
And my name is David Munis Zepernick. I am the head of business development and public affairs with the Danish-Swedish life science cluster organization Medicon Valley Alliance, which is a member-based binational organization with approximately 300 member companies and organizations, including biotech, pharmaceutical companies, and medtech companies. So good.
So David, Danish biotech 2020, what do you think? Is it moving up?
Well, of course, I mean, this year has been an extraordinary year, not necessarily in a positive way, but I mean, from a biotech perspective, I do really think we've nailed it to some extent, and we are seeing progress in Denmark, also in Sweden, and I actually think there's quite a potential for even more.
I think there's a massive potential for more, and what we've seen during 2020 surpasses everything we've seen for the last 5 to 6 years in Denmark. Not only the amount of new startups that's coming into the market, but also the funding that's being attracted by these companies is beyond what we've seen before. Typically every year in COBIS we do measurements of how much capital is being attracted by our startup companies, and it's typically around 700-800 million per year. This year alone we are almost reaching 3 billion Danish kroner in funding raised for the companies. So I think we're now at the start of a new era. I think that biotech has a potential to grow to double or triple the size in Denmark, and especially with some of these new ecosystem players that's come into place. I think we really are on a well-beaten track here.
Yeah, and I think it's not only COBIS, although of course COBIS as the leading life science park here in Copenhagen, the Danish part of the Medicon Valley region, is of crucial importance, but we see it all over actually. And obviously when you look at biotech, the number of employees might not be the most relevant things to count, but I mean there's an increasing number of life science employees generally in this region. So it's number of companies, number of employees, it's capital, of course, crucial component of every life science ecosystem, and I think we're pretty much moving in the right direction.
Yeah. I think some of the things that stands out in this region are the collaboration between public and private partners and the whole ecosystem. Seen from the outside, it can be a little bit difficult to maneuver in because there are so many stakeholders and so many organizations wanting to support the creation of new life science companies. But having said that, I think there's an understanding between the partners that people are looking for funding or resources or capital or human impact wherever they can, and people are willing to support each other in nurturing these small startup companies. COBIS is about 10 and a half years old today, and during those 10 years or that decade, we've seen a growth in the number of companies, but furthermore, we've seen an explosion in the number of collaborations between all the different stakeholders. Not just project-oriented, but also long-term sustainable collaborations between the partners. And I think that's what's going to carry us forward to the next millennium.
And I think we see something similar on the Swedish side, actually, with the science park there, the science park Medicon, the science park Medicon Village, the science park Idén. I mean, basically, they are all booming, and like COBIS, they are also planning to enlarge in order to meet the growing demand.
Yeah. We've also not just seen it in Scandinavia. We've seen a general growth in biotech throughout Europe, but more interesting, we've seen a lot of foreign actors now showing an increased interest in our region. It's a variety of different services that they're looking for. Some wants to set up a small office or a lab unit here at COBIS or one of the other science parks, just entering the markets. Others are looking for acquisition opportunities, buying either technologies or companies. Some are looking for funding opportunities, so we have a lot of venture funds coming from all over the world looking at our portfolio. But we also see more general interest in our region that has more to do with how we've structured our healthcare system here in Denmark.
And I think we see that maybe it's a general interest or growing interest in the Nordics, but we see specifically here in Denmark and Sweden that there are more and more foreign companies, global companies or European companies curious about what's going on in this region, and actually kind of knocking on the door and looking at this region as a stepping stone into the Nordics or into Europe. And we see that because we are also approached, Medicon Valley Alliance, we are also approached by foreign companies who want to know more about the region, know more about the science parks such as COBIS, and generally know more about how they can actually tap into this life science ecosystem to the benefit of their business and their R&D.
Yeah. So one of our, looking at some of the challenges that we face moving forward, David, Denmark is a small country, so are our neighboring countries, and even though the collaboration between borders or between countries across borders is strong today, it's a game of talents. We need to be able to attract the best talent in our region to support our startup companies so they have the best opportunity to grow moving forward. There's a lot of effort being done from both the Swedish and Danish government in promoting various programs for talent attraction. We're looking at our tax schemes, etc. But one of the things that I think we could do even better at is promoting some of the opportunities that we have in our region for a young startup professional that wants to participate in a biotech adventure. I think we need to do more in that respect in promoting our region so we can attract the best talent for the future. How does that look from Medicon Valley Alliance?
Well, I mean, we agree, and we are also very actively involved in that, in the sense that we all know that with the huge ambition we have for this region, we will not be able to grow sufficient talent locally. Despite excellent universities, University of Copenhagen, Lund University in southern Sweden, we will need more talented life science professionals that these two academic institutions and the other institutions working with life science in this region can deliver.
Yeah.
So I mean, talent is the raw material that this industry needs in order to grow. So definitely we need to be able to attract the right persons and the right profiles from all over the world.
Yeah. And as you know, there's a couple of new initiatives that's specifically promoting access to talent. So one, of course, being the newly founded Bioinnovation Institute, with all its glory and all its programs, very well funded initiative from Novo Nordisk Foundation. that are now spinning out into a separate fund and are launching not just incubator programs, but also proof of concept funds and investment funds and so forth. So that's going to play a really vital role moving forward. And of course, we are happy to support them here at COBIS. The second new initiative that I'm looking really forward to, or maybe I should say there's three here, but the second one is the new super cluster that's coming into place. So as you know, there's been a decision to pull together all the resources in the Danish ecosystem and create a super cluster for life science and healthcare. I think that's going to play an important role in positioning our region in the future. And thirdly, we have a really strong government that are eager to support our business. They have launched a new life science strategy and have now put money where the ambition is, so are launching are setting aside about 200 million Danish kroner to support this new strategy. So I have high hopes for those three initiatives to solve some of these issues that we're facing.
Well, yeah, and obviously we have to be smart about it because as I always say when I am meeting, for instance, Chinese delegations, we will not try to impress them by numbers. I mean, in this region alone, there are about 4 million inhabitants, southern Sweden, eastern Denmark. Obviously, that number will not impress a foreign audience, and certainly not a Chinese audience. But it is about connecting the dots that we have, and by pooling our resources here in Denmark and in southern Sweden, of course, we do get a little bit more critical mass. And then, of course, we have to specialize, because a region the size of Medicon Valley will never be able to compete across the entire range of therapeutic areas. We're simply too small for that. But we do have some existing and also, I believe, future strongholds within, for instance, obviously diabetes, but also oncology, dermatology, CNS-related diseases, fertility treatment, and microbiome related R&D, where we can actually realistically aspire to become world class.
Yeah, I think there's probably two areas on top of what you've mentioned. I fully agree, but what we also see an increasing growing strength is using AI as a component, or using data analysis as a component in developing new therapeutic areas. So that's one component. The other thing that I think is really strong in our region is the connection into the healthcare system. So the ability to actually go out and test your hypothesis or get clinical evidence of your data during a true clinical setting is really vital for expanding this area and for creating new ways of treating diseases. And I think we are really strong in that area. Luckily, we are blessed with a national healthcare system that is really eager to adapt new technology and are keen on doing partnerships with the life science industry, both larger and smaller companies. There are challenges as in every ecosystem, but I think we are quite well advanced in this. And this is some of the areas where we see also international interest in our region.
Yeah, and I guess there are a lot of regions competing to do that, but I think it is one of our rather unique selling points, and the general easiness of doing business is of course absolutely crucial when you look at this region from the outside.
Yeah. So the final thing that is on top of my head is the international collaborations between the Nordic partners. We've worked with organizations from Sweden and Norway and Finland and UK and Germany for a number of years now. It's growing in strength, it's growing in importance. We still face from time to time various barriers. It can be cultural, linguistic, whatever it is, but there's a general feeling that by working together as a region, we have a stronghold, and particularly with organizations such as Medicon Valley Alliance, I think that you can really foster that collaboration amongst the different partners. So where do you see those collaborations going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, forward, hopefully. I think traditionally there's been more competition than collaboration. And that has been a challenge where what we are advocating at Medicon Valley Alliance, particularly when we look at Denmark and Sweden, is that we should collaborate more and look at each other as more as partners than as competitors. And of course there will always be competition, and competition is generally a good thing. But if we want to compete internationally and globally, we should, to a significantly larger extent, join forces in the Nordics and step up as an integrated region.
I think you're right, in particular for larger foreign organizations or countries looking with an interest for the Nordics. Ideally, they should see this as one region and not 3 or 4 different countries with 3 or 4 different legal systems and 3 or 4 different reimbursement systems and so forth. So developing a new service or a product here in this region should be uniform in the sense that it's a one point of contact, using the ability with all 25 million people here at their disposal. I think that's going to be really important.
That's true. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So final aspect I think we should address is what's on everybody's lips right now is of course COVID-19 and what else has come out of that crisis. In Denmark in particular, and to some extent in the Nordic countries as such, we've been either clever enough or lucky or blessed enough to keep it fairly under control. But it has changed the whole system. It has changed how we collaborate. It has changed access to clinical trials and so forth. Luckily, it looks like we have scientific breakthroughs in terms of vaccines moving forward. So hopefully a bit of new normal is coming back. But on the overall, do you see any major differences or challenges or new ways of working together coming out of this pandemic?
Well, I think it was Winston Churchill who once said that there is an opportunity in every calamity, and I think that goes for COVID-19 as well. And we've already seen that there are in this region, southern Sweden, eastern Denmark, more than 20 interesting, pioneering projects addressing the COVID-19 challenge in this region alone. And in my view, that testifies to our ability to adapt and to see opportunities as well. And some of these projects are actually already binational in nature. Obviously, they are public-private, most of them. So yes, I do actually see that this as also kind of a test that we can actually work together in a time of crisis and also work fast when we need to.
Yeah. I just want to add to that what we've seen as a result of these new ways of working and the pandemic and what's that led with it is a new focus on the adaptation of healthcare technologies in our sector. So a lot of emphasis has been put on how to treat individuals from a distance, how to make sure that fragile people or elderly people or chronics, whatever it is, are still being treated and being taken care of. And I think we've seen some brilliant examples of new companies launching business models or new products or services that are addressing that need. So despite the fact that it has had a global impact, there's a lot of good has come out of it as well, because it's allowed us to modernize our healthcare system and adapt new technology to a much larger extent than we had before.
True. I mean, as mentioned, no doubt that this is an enormous calamity, but it is also an opportunity, not only for this region, but in particular for this region.
Exactly.
Yes?
So once again, welcome to Copenhagen Bio Science Park. My name is Morten Jensen. I'm the CEO of the Biopark. We're about a 10-year-old organization focusing on the commercialization of early-stage life science research, supporting young startup companies in growing their businesses. Today, COBIS has grown to a significant environment. We are the largest one in Denmark, supporting young startup companies with approximately 125 companies located here. And we are open for business. We would love to set up partnerships with even more national or international clients. We have a bunch of different offers for them, offices and labs for developing new companies, but we also do project activities in which we form partnerships to support the growth of companies. So we have international partnerships with companies from the Scandinavian countries, from the European countries, from the US, but we could do with more Asian partnerships. So if you're interested, reach out to me and we'll be more than happy to have a chat about potential collaborations. Thank you.